Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builder Supply. This video is to bring you a closer look at the major HIT-44B22. This is a 2 1/8 inch multi-spur bit is what it is. Let's take it out of the packaging here and take a look at it. Multi-spur bits are very common for drilling holes, especially when doing door work and in particular lock set or deadbolt installations. This is in essence a common multi-spur bit. 2 1/8 inch. It is going to be carbide tipped. You've got the hot dipped wax or plastic, that coating that's on there that protects that. You just obviously peel that away. It has its typical multi-spur style triangular shaped centering point, and this it looks like it's a self-centering version, and I want to be sure that I understand that it is or it isn't. Oh, it's not. This is definitely not self-centering. Self-centering is, you'll notice it on that tip where it's got some threads on it. Well, they look like threads. And I remember the first time I used a self-centering multi-spur bit, yeah, I was into the door before I realized. Luckily, I wasn't moving too fast. Luckily, the bit didn't move because I was surprised that it started moving, like advancing. So be mindful when you have those, because you may not be ready to actually start cutting the face of the door. With a carbide tipped version like this, I'll want to get to the face of the door and score it before I try to really start removing material using the standard feature of a multi-spur bit, this cutter that's here. So that's where I come from in terms of understanding what you're dealing with. I'm not a fan of multi-spur bits because I have witnessed them tearing out a lot of a door, and it's because in my opinion, the few amount of teeth that are on a multi-spur bit, the aggressive angle and attack at which they approach the work, and this cutter, you're really removing a lot of it all at once. I know that I'm in the minority position when it comes to not liking these. Lots of people do. They're inexpensive relatively, and they are available. Now, this is a carbide tipped version. This is definitely not the cheap high-speed steel style. This is something that you're going to be able to expect not only a tremendous amount of use out of because of the carbide tipped, but you can sharpen them or have them sharpened. Overall length about 7 1/4 inch. Obviously 2 1/8 inch here. There is some ability to service this with that set screw. You could probably technically buy the shaft separately. Should you somehow, I suppose, damage that, you could. And there you go. So this is going to be used in conjunction, obviously, with major tools such as the HIT-44, the door lock installation kit. This client bought the HIT-44 along with this 2 1/8 multi-spur bit. So let's switch to the screen view, and let's look at all the supporting information that we have on this. If you are enjoying this video, please click thumbs up or like, and also please consider subscribing to our channel. Let's move on to the rest of the video. Alright, here is our bit that we're looking at. 2 1/8 inch multi-spur, quick release hex drive and carbide tip, 7 inch overall length. So being able to remove the shaft from that's probably going to be more conducive to someone sharpening it, I would imagine. I couldn't think of other reason other than service that I would remove the hex release, using that hex set screw. And it does not come with an Allen wrench. There are images that I have down below. That's the packaging. I imagine it's probably obvious, but you would not use a carbide tipped multi-spur bit on a steel door. You could. You'd probably only get 1 or 2 holes out of it. That's the unit and its packaging. And then just a variety of images showing the unit itself. Okay. Now, there is below this video a link to product brochure. Let's take a look at that. Now, this is to the HIT-44 Drill Master, and that's because this multi-spur bit is an accessory that you'll use in door lock installation tools, is what it is. So we're dealing with the carbide tip version, the HIT-44B22. Now you'll take note that they make a high-speed steel version of it as well. The HIT-44B21, that's certainly going to be substantially less expensive. Yeah, it's half the cost is what that is. Again, personal preference on what you're going to end up using, whether it be, in my opinion, a carbide tip is absolutely worth double the cost. It's for the mere fact that you, with the tool in the hands of the right saw sharpening company, assuming those people still exist, I would think they have to. You'll be able to, you've got to have the right talented person sharpening the tool, but you ought to be able to get useful life. Now, what I end up doing is using a tool like this, I'll have it sharpened, I'll use it again, and I notice that the quality of my cut decreases, obviously, with ever sharpening, but at some point I'll replace it with a new tool and then relegate the old one to my backup, is what it is. And if you're going to have it sharpened, you're probably going to need a backup. You might just have a high-speed steel as a backup if you're always going to be using a carbide tip. No reason to have two of those laying around necessarily, because the high-speed steel multi-spur bit will obviously do the job. Just not as elegantly, in my opinion. So that HIT-44, that is a different video, a different product. This is something that you can use to drill those 2 1/8 inch holes for your locks, your deadbolts generally. This will come available in kit form as well, with a variety of drilling tools, and then separate tools as well. 7/8, 1 inch, 1.5 inch, 2 1/8. 7/8 and 1 inch are obviously going to be for the edge of the door, depending on whether you're doing a commercial or residential lock. 1.5 inch and 2 1/8, that's going to be for the diameter of the bore, the cross bore through the door. There are deadbolts that go into 1.5 inch holes. And if you are installing deadbolts and your deadbolt will go into an 1.5 inch hole, I absolutely recommend that you drill the 1.5 inch hole, because you're removing less of the door. You're compromising, in my opinion, the door less because you're drilling away less of the material. Twist style for the edge of the door. A two-wing with scoring cutters on it for wood doors. This is typical in a kit as well, with this spade bit that can be replaced. Here it is. Quick change, other spade bits that are here as well. So these are all the components that you'll generally see in an entire kit from Major, is what it is, which are in the earlier part of this product catalog. Now, speaking of catalogs, there is a link below this video, as seen here, to the manufacturer's page within our site. And from here, you can pull up not only all of the Major products that we sell by means of this horizontal navigation, but also a link to their website, as well as a link to their product catalog. This customer called and said, I have the Quickset 138, or no, he didn't say that. He said, I've used the Quickset 138. What do you have that you can supply me? Well, Quickset stopped making that 138 tool in probably 2019 or so, and I may have one or two. Right now I know that I don't have any. I may have an older version of it, a new older version that might be 20, 30 years old, that came in that red case. Well, I immediately said to the client, there's lots of ways to do this. There's lots of ways to drill this 2 1/8 inch hole, but I'll tell you, the common way to do it, or the most economical way to do it and still have a substantially robust investment quality tool, is the HIT-44 by Major. And scrolling through the catalog, searching HIT-44, you'll get to specialty installation tools about halfway through the catalog. As you get into this section, you're going to start to see, yeah, there's more than one way to drill a 2 1/8 inch hole in a door. That's to be sure. And going through this catalog will most definitely allow you to investigate not only drilling those holes, but also other holes that you might need in addition to it, such as through-bolt holes or function holes, whatever you want to call that sort of work. I would absolutely recommend to dive into this catalog if you're not sure of what you need, or if you do other work in the field and you're not doing it as elegantly as you could be otherwise doing it. definitely take a look at the HIT-44 platform. The HIT-45 platform is modular. You get a clamp on the edge of the door and then a variety of plates that you can slap onto the face of that. So you can do the edge for an 86 edge. You can do the function holes for a variety of different types of mortise locks. Obviously, aluminum storefront routing aluminum is like wood, except a lot more chatter when you're routing through the base material. So you get the point. You can get into this catalog and edify yourself as to what, frankly, is available. Lock mortiser. You can do that 86 edge prep there. Those are the bits for doing it. Porter cable makes a nice tool as well for doing that. It's going to be substantially more expensive than what you're looking at. Although I would argue, I've used it countless hundreds of times, and it's the slick way to go. Not for fire doors though. You don't want to use that Porter cable mortise pocket maker with fire doors, for a couple of reasons. So I've introduced you to the catalog, pointed out to you the lock installation tools. We did skip over the first half of the catalog, and that would be full of security hardware. So if you are an integrator, a locksmith, someone who works in the field, or you're someone who is charged with maintaining security over doors, this catalog will be one that you'll want to familiarize yourself with. Absolutely. Just no question about it. Lots of security hardware up here. Let's wrap up this video on camera. If you've not hit subscribe yet, we would very much appreciate if you did, and hopefully you're enjoying this video. Now, let's get back to it. Now, if you have any questions on this carbide tip multi-spur bit, feel free to reach out to us. Major is a simple, straightforward, no-nonsense outfit that makes very high-quality tools. The folks over there absolutely understand the process of what you're doing. That's evidenced by the fact that they've designed these tools. They are open to considering solutions to problems or jobs that you have that they don't currently have in their catalog. I have run things past them in the past. I have run concepts and ideas to them in the past and asked if there was a solution that they could come up with. And generally, when they're doing that, they're consulting their existing product catalog and saying, well, if you want to do that, you know, this tool that we have, you can use it in this way and it will do that job. I would like to think that Major likes to do business with us because I have a working knowledge of what it takes to prep a door, whether it be steel or wood or aluminum or fiberglass or bronze, etc., and how to use their tools and how they're employed, how you use them, what tools are used to use their tools, and the approach. I've mortised everything I think conceivable, either by hand with a hammer and chisel, all the way up to having it done on a CNC, and being able to take a piece of hardware out of the box and then magically it fits on the door how it should. That process is a learning process that you decide to dive into or you don't. But if you do, if you're like me, you'll retain that knowledge and you'll be able to apply it. So knowing about a multi-spur bit, yeah, I've used them. I know all about them. Now, when it comes to drilling indoors, I am actually not an advocate of using a door lock installation kit. I have never owned one. Well, I do, but I don't use them. I own them I own a couple just because they're rare tools. They're the manufacturers, whether it be Classic Engineering or Kwikset or Porter Cable. I have two right here actually, which those black boxes. Those are brand new tools that have to be 25 years old. I keep them just for the history of tool collecting. But when it comes to drilling a hole in a door for a lock, tape measure. Mark the back set. 2 1/8 inch bimetal hole saw. 1 inch spade bit. Porter Cable lock template face tool that you can wing nut and tighten on, and then your 7/8 horsepower router, corner chisel. The only thing that I didn't do in that 12 seconds was the fact that before I cut anything, I measure twice. I do have a Kwikset angle backset finder. It's a piece of aluminum that we may still have some. And it's just a cheap little piece of aluminum that I can mark not only the center of my door and the edge, but also the back set. I take my Spur, my 2 1/8 halfway through, 1 inch down through the edge of the door. Porter cable template, 2 1/4 inch and 1/8, square the corners, I'm done. By the time that handyman or that locksmith has pulled that quickset 138 clunker out of the case, I'm halfway there. And I understand why people like lock installation tools, because everything that I just kind of demonstrated requires an intimate understanding of the process and what it needs to look at. When you hand someone a tool, clamp this on, do this, you're ritualizing the process and you're eliminating a lot of the steps where error can come in. The only thing that you need to do, you need to know your way around the tool, and that can be as easy as 20 seconds of someone showing you. And the only other error that you can make is the vertical height. If you put it at the wrong vertical height, you're in trouble. Usually it doesn't matter, though, in the sense that someone who owns one of those tools, I remember a client of ours from the early 90s, his first name was Gil. He's a handyman, a very tall, lanky fellow in Chicago, and he swore by the kit. He says, how do you drill the holes without it? I explained it to him. He's like, oh, don't even bother me with that. It doesn't matter the height, because you're adding a deadbolt. 6.5 inch center to center, 8 inch center to center, 4.5. What does your client want? Great. Only thing you have to do there is make sure the strike is at the right center line. So that height is, in many instances, less critical. I would argue, though, if you have frames that are already prepped, you need to get that height at the right location. Anyway, I'm partial to Major. They have a very high-quality tool line, and I hope that they continue to produce this high-quality material, because the environment and the landscape of those companies that do is ever shrinking. Any questions on anything Major related, please feel free to reach out to us. Thank you very much. Thank you for watching, and if you've enjoyed this video, please click thumbs up, please subscribe, and maybe even send the video to someone that you know. Thank you.